So going back to the basic, you mentioned Dave Ramsey at the beginning. Love him or hate him, his concept is smart because people can't handle debt. They can't handle credit card debt. They can't handle car payment debt. It gets out of control for a lot of people. I have neighbors that have $20,000 in credit card debt, 2 brand new cars in their driveway. That's not a recipe for success in investing for your future. So stay out of debt. Stay out of consumer debt. If you have credit cards, pay them off every month.
This is episode 192 with David Van Brunt. Enjoy!
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Villafania. And this is the Pool Chasers Podcast.
Well, thank you so much, David. We appreciate you taking the time to be on the podcast today. How you been?
Good. Thanks for inviting me on to the show. It's been like 3.5 years since the last one.
Has it been that long? That's crazy.
Yeah, November 2018. So it's forever ago. It was before COVID, before everything, you know?
Yeah, crazy how time flies, but super happy to have you back on the show. For anybody listening that doesn't know who you are, you must be living under a rock because, myself and Ty both agree that, you are the person that, has kind of started this movement of education and just kind of moving, especially the service side of the pool industry forward. So thank you for that. We've talked about that quite a bit. We're very thankful for all the content you've been putting out, into the world since you first got started. But maybe you can share with the listeners, just who you are, what you do, talk about your YouTube channel, the podcast, some of the other things you got going on.
Yes, I've been in the industry since 1988. When I was 16 years old, that's when I got started in the pool industry. A family friend, Doug Ward in Orange County, trained me. And then I started in the service industry. And then about 10 years ago, actually, I started the YouTube channel. And it's got 100,000 subscribers, 51 million video views, and I have 1,200 videos posted there. So I have a lot of content on the pool industry. And then I kind of evolved that into the podcast about 5 years ago. I have 840 episodes and 850,000 downloads, so it's doing pretty well. And then I have the coaching program I started 4 years ago. There's 280 members in that program right now. And, if they're interested in the coaching program, which I think is something that's really affordable, it's $10, starting at $10 a month, up to $20 a month, and call me. So that's like a Starbucks right now, basically. It's crazy how everything has been inflated. So that's kind of what I do in the industry. I have a long background and I do product reviews, I do coaching, I do business advice, things of that nature. And that's what I've evolved into over the years, starting with the YouTube videos. Awesome.
You're probably one of the most responsible pool professionals I know, and all the different things you've been preaching, the investment stuff, the Dave Ramsey stuff, and just being responsible with, your money for a long time. So anybody that's getting coached by you, I think that's definitely a good thing. And today we really want to dive into some things about planning for your future because, can't be, maybe managing or cleaning pools for the rest of your life. And if there's some things that you can do to be proactive and, set yourself up and your family up for success, we think that you're the guy to talk about this stuff. So what are some things that people can be doing to plan for the future?
The first thing I think you need to realize, you can't be doing pool service forever. I mean, if you've been at the supplier and you've seen like a 65-year-old guy walk in there to get his equipment or supplies, you're wondering, why is this guy still working? Did he plan correctly? Is he working for fun? Hopefully he's working for fun. But if you don't plan, then you may be working forever, which is not a good thing for your body and for just your overall financial health. There's a few things you can do. You can transition into the corporate industry. Many companies hire former pool guys, Pentair, Hayward, Leslie's is another one that likes pool service professionals. So if you're in the field and you're getting older, you can definitely transition to the corporate side of the industry. You can move into a different industry, which is something that a lot of people do also. You may be able to build your business up to where it's help run and you're just sitting back managing it. That's another thing you can do also. Or I think the best thing you can do is retire with passive income or with some kind of investment income. And that's what I have set myself up to do. I don't plan on, running a business forever, and having that passive income is the way to go. And if you don't know what passive income is, it's basically the money that you invest, you make it work for you. So the money is like multiplying by itself without you doing anything.
That's great, David. Thank you. And to go back a little bit, do you have any advice for maybe people that are, a little bit older and they're starting kind of late in getting things set up for their future? Do you think it's ever, too late to jump on some of these things?
It's never too late. You just have to kind of accelerate things. So just as an example, my son wrote an essay for his school, and he used these numbers, and I'm stealing this from his essay that he wrote. So if if you invest $550 a month for 30 years, which is like the average car payment, you'll have at 8% in the stock market, which is the average return, you'll have $650,000 in 30 years. But if you invest $1,000 at that 8%, right now it's kind of going down because of everything happening. But at 8%, which is the average return, you'll have $1.2 million. And so you just have to accelerate your investing. So if you're in your 40s and you really want to invest in the market, you may have to put $2,000 in a month. And in order to do that, you have to have, of course, the money to do that. And so a lot of that has to do with personal finance, getting everything in order, not having a lot of debt. And that car payment example is really important because most Americans have a $550 car payment that they have, and that's the money they could be using to invest.
Yeah, I love that. And that kind of goes to your point about working, a corporate job, because maybe you can take a little bit off of your body and go work for, one of these bigger companies, because they're always looking for experience, right? And if you've worked out in the field, you could work in customer service or, there's a number of jobs that would be good, and it takes off, that physical, part of your body, but also, a lot of them are offering healthcare, maybe 401k, different things like that, that maybe you're paying for within your business, and you can now, somebody else can pay for that, but you can also maybe put money towards what you're saying. So I think both of those are really good, especially if you are older.
And I don't want to move away from the fact that the pool service itself is very scalable. So, you can add more accounts, you can do more services, you can add employees. So it's a really scalable business. You can actually increase the amount of money you can earn to invest. And I don't want to step too far away from that. But as you do get older, there is that corporate option available where, Hayward was really famous for hiring pool professionals back in the day. Maybe not so much now. And other companies like Pentair, and I mentioned Leslie's Pool Supply, are looking for pool pros to hire. So that is an option. But let's not move too far away from the fact that out there in the field, you can scale your business up pretty large. You guys had a really big pool route yourselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think, there's multiple options there. Like you said, you can get to a point where you hire employees. You can get to a point where you're not, you hire managers for that, and you're not doing much of that piece. It's just working for you. And then there's people who I think, like you said, the 65-year-olds just do it on the side that make really good money, that just do it for fun. That's more of a retirement thing. I think that option's there too for the service piece. And I think, moving to the corporate world thing, the most important thing for me there is the professional piece, right? We've seen the pool guys that aren't professional. That person's not probably going to be able to move in the corporate world, right? You got to work towards getting to that, making a name for yourself, cleaning yourself up a little bit, looking a little bit more professional, treating the industry more professional. You can't be a guy in flip flops and then some corporate's going to hire you. You know what I mean? It's got to be working towards that professionalism, which I think this industry in general is getting much better at. But that's an important piece for anybody that's thinking about the corporate side. You got to present yourself in that way to where you're hireable.
That reminds me of one of the Hayward reps I was talking to, and he said that whenever he interviews somebody, he likes to walk them out to the parking lot to their truck, and he'll glance over at the truck to see how organized the truck is, see if there's junk all over the place, how he keeps the vehicle. And that's kind of his litmus test that if this guy's ready to move into the corporate world, how does he organize his service truck? So little things like that, Tyler, are important. I think we have to emphasize that as a pool pro, you are a pro, and so you have to kind of act that way. And my truck gets messy too, I'll admit that, and I can't find things, but try to stay organized and have that kind of professional outlook, and then you'll be attractive to the corporate world.
Yeah. I won't say who it is, but there's an appliance company that when they're hiring and they ask you to come to their main headquarters for an interview, they'll automatically not go with you if they see you walk across the lawn. If you don't walk on the sidewalk, if you take like the shortcut through the grass, they automatically, you're just like not the person for them. And not to say that everybody and anybody that would walk across is, not a good worker, but there's something about the culture and what they're looking for. Somebody that doesn't do that, I guess.
No,
it was me. I'm going to be
sense.
honest. It
Follow
was
the
me that
rules.
walked across the grass. I was asking questions. I'm just kidding.
You want someone that's respectful, right? I mean, you're respecting the property, so that makes sense.
So I want to ask you this, David, and then we'll move on. Say, you have however many accounts, and you can maybe get 50,000 or 100,000 and transition into, say, a corporate job. So now you have this kind of unexpected money. If it were you, what would you do with, say, $50,000? Like, would you spend some of it? Would you invest all of it? Like, what would you do?
I would definitely lean towards investing that in real estate. That's enough usually for a down payment and maybe for investment property. In most areas, California is kind of one of those areas where it's unaffordable in some cases. But I would say using that money to buy real estate, invest it in there, would be the way to go. I wouldn't spend a dime of it on anything except investing it, especially if you're in the 40 plus age group. You want to maximize your investing. I wouldn't necessarily put a big amount like that into the stock market or a mutual fund or any kind of fund like that, because the market, as you know, can go up and down pretty quickly. And when you're investing in the market, you want to just put gradual small amounts of money in there so that if it does dip down 1 or 2%, you're not losing a big chunk of that money. 50,000, you put it in last week, you would have lost, $5,000 or $6,000. So you don't want to put big chunks in the market. But investing in real estate is relatively safe. And investing over, a little bit over a short period of time in the market is a smart way to do it. So that's what I would do with that money if you did sell your route and you moved out of the pool service industry.
Do you think it's better to invest or pay things off or split it up? Does it really kind of depend on your finances?
It does. And I think carrying a lot of debt, if you have a car payment at 5% and you pay that off, you're just invested at 5%. If you have a house at 4% and you pay a chunk towards that, you just took a big chunk out of the amortization table. If you ever bought a house, by law now they give you the whole 30-year chart of how much money you're paying in principal and interest. And usually at the bottom it tells you the total if you do the whole 30 years. And that's usually almost double the price of the house that you purchased. So any money you throw at your house, you're going to pay it off quicker. For myself and my wife, we have 4 of our houses paid off, 4 out of the 6 properties, and I can go over some more real estate stuff later. But paying down your debt, you're at least getting 4% on your money when you're paying off your debt, your car payment, your home. And that really affects how you can invest in real estate too. Having a lot of debt makes it harder to get those loans to buy real estate.
Sure. I love that. That's gold right there. So, you're just talking about real estate. What are some other ways that people can, invest their money?
Yeah, so besides real estate, there's also things called REITs, which are kind of like a group of people that buy real estate. You can invest in there. There's like Bitcoin, which I don't think you should invest in anything you don't know about. There's a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, and the whole point of that book is only invest in things you know about. So for me, I've been in real estate for 21 years, so I know a lot about real estate. So I don't know anything about Bitcoin. I know how it works. I know the different Bitcoins there are. I know like the actual one that you hear about, there's a finite amount of it out there, and that's why the value goes up so high. But there's other Bitcoins also that are tied to other things. So it's really foreign to invest in something you don't know, and I would avoid that. And I think the safest investment for any pool tech out there is a Roth IRA. And this is something you can invest in, and you get to get that money out later tax-free. So for instance, a Roth IRA, I think you can put $6,000 in as a husband and wife together, so $12,000 a year, or $500 a month. So each person $500 a month, so that's $12,000 a year. That's correct. And that money doesn't come off of your taxable income. But when you draw it out later, when you're retired at 65, you don't pay taxes on that money. So if you have $500,000 in there, you can draw that out every month without paying income tax on it. And sometimes as you get older, your tax rate is higher, so it might be more logical. So the most basic investment for anyone out there listening would be a Roth IRA. Talk to a financial planner, open that up, put the $1,000 a month in if you're married, and build that up. And that's just one simple way to invest that's pretty safe and easy to manage.
Yeah, I like that concept a lot. I think that makes sense for anybody in their, 30, 40s approaching that piece, right? I mean, 401ks at a younger age are a little bit different. You can use that, but the Roth makes a big difference on that taxable piece, right? Because 401ks, that would be taxed later, right? And then a Roth would be taxed up front. So it's a really good piece for you as you get older to be able to just know exactly how much money you got, that you can actually use. It's cool. Good advice there.
If you go back to my son's numbers when he wrote his essay for his class, I mean, $1,000 a month over 30 years is $1.2 million at 8%. Because there's just kind of, snowballs. Like the little analogy, like, would you rather get paid $1,000 a day or pay me 1 penny and double it every day for 30 days? And then you're like in the billions of dollars, So that's kind of how it works when you compound the investing and the interest.
So let's just go down real estate a little bit deeper, since that seems to be what your expertise is on. So tell us why that's kind of the best for you.
I think for real estate, people get the misconception that it's very difficult to manage properties, difficult to get in because everything is expensive. And it is granted higher than it was a year ago to invest in real estate, but you can still find deals out there. The real benefit of real estate is twofold. One, you get a tax break because IRS really wants you to create housing for people. And so they'll give people that own rental properties a tax break. You can depreciate that asset for 27 years. You also can write off all the expenses, property tax, the mortgage, anything you put into that property, because the government really wants housing, and so they want to encourage people to buy houses to rent. And so you have that tax break on that end. So if you're making a lot of money in your pool service business, let's say you're grossing, $150,000, and you're netting $120,000. If you have a rental property, you can take $30,000 off of your income right there with the deductions, the mortgage deduction, the property tax, things like that, anything you put into the property. Then on the other end, you don't need to wait till you're 65 to get money. So, investing in the market, like I mentioned earlier, you have to wait to a certain age to draw it out. You may not live to that age. You may not, be able to function at that age. You may be in a nursing home. But real estate allows you to have cash immediately. So if you have more rental income than the actual expenses, that's called cash flow in real estate. And you could have a pretty good cash flow coming in. For instance, between my properties right now that we own, me and my wife, we gross about $175,000 in rent every year. And so that money, of course, you can use now. I'm 50 years old. I just turned 50 this year, or last year actually. And so that money coming in every month is something you can actually utilize and not wait until you're 70.
Very good.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, David shares his thoughts on teaching kids how to be successful at a young age. And we discuss a few things David recommends not to do with your money. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is supported by PoolRx. Well, it's that time of year again. PoolRx is having their Spring Big Sale event. That means it's time for you to stock up for this summer. When we're running brothers, this was one of our favorite times of year. We got a discount on the product, but more importantly, we were setting our pools up to be successful and reducing chemical usage, which saved us a ton of time and money. Let me tell you a little bit more about the product. PoolRx eliminates and prevents all types of algae, reduces chlorine demand, and lasts up to 6 months. With PoolRx, there is no need for phosphate removers, clarifiers, or other algicides. When using PoolRx, you will see high-definition water clarity. I mean, the pools just pop. Right now, you can get $15 off a 4-pack of blue units and $17.50 off a 4-pack of black units at your favorite distribution location. The sale ends April 30th, so get them while you can. If you want to find out more about the product and how you can reduce your chlorine usage this summer, check out episode 142, visit PoolRx.com, or click the link below.
Hey Pool Pros, my name is Zach Singer.
And I'm Bryce Sarayan. We're here with Beyond Pool Cleaning in Scottsdale, Arizona, and this is your Skimmer Tip of the Week. So, back in 2017, one of the main reasons we started using Skimmer was for automated service emails that it sends to our customers after each service stop. And since then, we have done a lot to really get the most out of them.
Oh yeah, it starts off as a nice recap of readings, dosages, and checklist items, but there are several options to really take it to that next level. Customizing the default message in the service emails is a game changer. This can lead to so many great opportunities. Remember when we updated it to promote the variable speed pumps and we sold 3 in the first week?
Yeah, and giving our customers information about pool chemistry and CYA so they understood why we recommend draining their pools occasionally.
Not only educating, but communicating. Like how we let them know when we're going to be off for Thanksgiving and Christmas. My all-time favorite's when we started the photo contest.
Right, we challenged our team to add a personal touch, like adding photos of the dogs or making sure the pool looked great. Then you noticed that a really good-looking photo got forwarded to our customers' friends, so we had to add referral messages as well.
We had a lot of fun with that one, especially when our customers took notice of the extra effort.
Just another way Skimmer helped us market to and educate our customers.
To find out more, check out episodes 138 and 154 of the podcast, or go to getskimmer.com/poolchasers. That's getskimmer.com/poolchasers.
Something I was just thinking about, and it's a little bit random, so I do apologize, but something that can be a real money suck is your kids. And I think that you've done a phenomenal job in kind of turning, your son into a little entrepreneur because, you've probably taught him how to make his own money. And, obviously the parents are spending, less money, but do you have any advice on, parents that have little kids coming up on, things that you can do with them to teach them about money?
Yeah, so my son, he's one of those, he's lucky to actually be, coached by me personally, because he actually had to file taxes this year at 14. He just turned 14 and he has to file income taxes. I don't know how many 14-year-olds file income taxes, but he's one of them. And I just saw that he had an innate talent for designing things. And he bought a 3D printer for Christmas, or he got a 3D printer with his Christmas money. That's another thing that we taught him, is that everything you want, you have to pay for yourself. There's no, free ride here. And so he bought a 3D printer to print Estes rocket nose cones. So these are these rockets you launch, and he wanted to print nose cones for him. And I saw him designing these things really easily on the computer. And then I told him, hey, why don't you make this for this company, this keychain? So he started making these things, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen his Hasa keychains out there, and he does them for a lot of different companies. And so he had this innate ability that I was able to see. So as a parent, I think you look at your child and you see their innate ability, and if you can foster that and you can try to direct them to monetize that, that's the way to do it. And on the flip side of that, if you just give your kids everything and they don't earn anything themselves, they won't value money later. And as you know, as business owners yourselves, there's no free rides out there. So if you can get their mind to think that I have to earn my money, I have to work hard at a young age, they'll develop into someone later that's going to do that. So I'm not worried about him, what he does later in the future, because I know that we've set him up to where he doesn't have a silver spoon and he's not going to just live off of, the parents. And I think that's one of the problems nowadays with hiring employees, young people. They feel entitled, they want to get $15 an hour, they're not going to work for you, which kind of threw everything into a loop during COVID where people are trying to recruit people, and you get this group of people that want more money than they probably deserve, flipping burgers and doing those kind of jobs. But that's kind of how they set everything up to be. And that goes back to the beginning when you're raising your kids. I think you have to just instill that, money is not something that you get, it's something that you earn, and you can make more by scaling your business and by doing more. He has like 5 or 6 printers now, so he's able to do major orders for people.
Wow.
I love that. And, back to your flipping burgers, something I learned a little bit late in life, but I think is good advice that was given to me is, you have to do those jobs that you think aren't good enough for you. You think you might be too good for it. But if you can't do the little things right, you're never going to be able to take on those big tasks that are asked of you, with those high level jobs that have a lot of responsibility. So if you can't take direction and you can't pay attention to little details like do not put cheese on this plain burger, which I don't know how that always gets wrong.
Mine always gets messed up.
But I bet if you talk to that person, they'd say, man, I'm trying to get, this gig over here. I'm like, you're not going to be able to do that job until you learn how to not put cheese on this plain burger. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean?
When I order my burger, I always say, I like a hamburger special, no cheese. I mean, you would think saying hamburger special would be enough, but I always say no cheese, and then I always say I'm allergic to cheese, which is true, I am. But yeah, I understand what you're saying there. It's the basic stuff, and I think that just goes back to, I don't think schools teach that, to be honest with you. My son's homeschooled, so he's here, and my wife's teaching him everything. And I just don't think, when I went to school, they never taught you how to do anything really, and, be a business owner. So I think there is some lack of education, and so when you go into the job market, you really don't know what you're doing. It's just one of those things where now more than ever, I see people going to the job market without any clue of how to smile, how to say, how can I help you? There's none of that going on in my area, at least, when you go out to order, except In-N-Out Burger. That's the only one where they still smile and greet you properly, but one of those skills that is just not taught.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
You mean manners? Yeah, right.
Yeah, not
crazy
enough manners
concept.
and
Say please and thank you and
sense.
smile, right?
So, what are some things not to do on this topic?
Yeah, so I'll go back to real estate real quick. And one thing I left off is that when you invest in real estate, you're actually building equity because the market goes up. It went up like 17% last year, which is crazy. So the money you have in your properties actually grows as as things inflate. So the worst thing you can do is have money in the bank and not invest it. And I think the old school way, my grandpa was this way, where he would have money in his bank and he would be happy having 20,000 in there. You're losing 7 or 8% on that money just sitting there. So you don't want to do that. Another thing you don't want to do is to get into a lot of debt when you're investing. I wouldn't tell anyone to do what I won't do. And I think if you carry a lot of debt when you're investing, you're asking for trouble when things turn ugly. Like right now, the market's down 10 or 15%. And if you're doing everything on debt, you're losing a lot of money. So you need to have a strong equity position in any investing. Like for instance, me and my wife, 85% of our investing is something that we can sell and get out of without having any problems. So we don't have a lot of debt. We only carry about 15% of debt on our investment properties, and the rest are all paid off. Because having debt is very dangerous. I know a lot of people that lost everything back in 2008, 2009 when they had a lot of debt on their real estate. We didn't. We had all of ours paid off. So it's an important thing to realize that being in debt is very dangerous, and I wouldn't advise anyone to go out there and start buying real estate if you don't have any money. You need to have some of your assets paid off. So going back to the basic, you mentioned Dave Ramsey at the beginning. Love him or hate him, his concept is smart because people can't handle debt. They can't handle credit card debt. They can't handle car payment debt. It gets out of control for a lot of people. I have neighbors that have $20,000 in credit card debt, 2 brand new cars in their driveway. That's not a recipe for success in investing for your future. So stay out of debt. Stay out of consumer debt. If you have credit cards, pay them off every month. Car payments should not be anything that you have with you. The car payment is the worst product you can ever get because it's not amortized, and it's calculated daily, the interest on a car payment. So you're basically paying for Uber every day with the car parked in your driveway. It's just a terrible product, and it's really going to hinder your ability to invest your money in your future.
Right. So talking about real estate, are you renting your properties privately, or are you doing one of the home sharing platforms like Airbnb or Vrbo?
Yeah, so all my rentals are just people that I rent to on a 1-year lease term. I thought about doing Airbnb. However, that takes a lot of babysitting. And this is, when you say passive income, the real estate, the rental, I've been doing this for 21 years now. Unless there's a problem, like I just had to replace a faucet at one of my rentals, or if you have a vacancy. Usually you're not spending a lot of time on your properties. Right now we just purchased one last month, so we're remodeling it. We have a contractor there. We're going there like every 3 days to make sure the work's being done correctly. After that's done, I get a tenant in there. I don't worry about it. So it becomes very passive. So between the rentals that we have and the money that they make, I may be spending 5 hours a month or 3 hours a month managing them at the most. So it's kind of like autopilot in most cases when you do this long enough. Now, if you're just starting out and you're a new landlord, there's a lot of things you need to learn about. But once you get it going, and like I said, 21 years doing this, you can pretty much put it on autopilot. And I have a list of plumbers, electricians, contractors I can send over there right away. Like, for instance, that faucet, my plumber was there the next day to put a new faucet in. And things become easier with time as you're doing this, but anything with experience. So I don't really like the short-term rentals because then I have to like babysit them. They don't know how to get in there with the code. Or, I've done Airbnbs myself. The garbage disposal is not working, or this is not working. So I don't want to have to deal with any of that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I think there's a time in your life where if you're hustling or kind of working through that can be very, successful for you. But when you're talking about passive, like you are, like as you grow older in your future, that's not something you probably want to manage at, 65 retirement age. You don't want to be doing all that. So kind of depends on which stage you're at, because I think both can be successful. But, when you're talking about passive specifically, right, it's what you're doing definitely makes more sense to not have to babysit it.
We're going to take another quick break. When we get back, David shares where to get started if you're looking to invest and how to join his groups to get help with pools or investing. This episode is brought to you by Leslie's. Pool season is rapidly approaching, and Leslie's is here to help you, the pool trade professional, be ready for action. With more than 950 locations across the country and extended hours of operations, including weekends, Leslie's is available when and where you need them. So stop by your local Leslie's today and let them help you plan your product needs this season. To learn more about their exclusive pool trade professional programs, check out episode 151 and 165 of the podcast, or visit a store today. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is also brought to you by Primate Pool Tools. All right, by now you've heard us talk about our friends at Primate Pool Tools, right? All their poles are made with aerospace-grade carbon fiber, which offers 10 times the strength of aluminum at half the weight. This allows you to cut through the water with ease. They have options for any level of commercial and residential maintenance with multiple models of poles to choose from, as well as an extension system that can extend the reach of any pole up to 40 feet. Primate Pool Tools continues to lead the way in carbon fiber technology by now offering stainless steel version of their flagship 2X and 3X models that are ideal for heavy vacs, as well as custom limited edition designs and brand new custom grips. All the Primate poles are handmade in the USA, come with a 1-year commercial warranty, and most importantly, top-notch customer service. Right now, you can get $20 off your order by using Pool Chasers 2021. That's Pool Chasers 2021 at checkout. And make sure to listen to episode 104 or click the link below for more information.
So how do people get to the point where they start planning? I mean, you're talking about planning now. So what's those steps?
The simplest thing I think they can do, if they haven't done this already, is get a piece of paper and just write down a budget, how much money you have coming in. You should be doing this every month. My wife's been doing a budget for us for like 15 years. It takes her like almost a half a day to do it. But you need to know what's coming in, because if you don't know what's coming in, you don't know where your extra money's at, or if you even have extra money. So you may be bleeding money in areas if you don't know where it's going. So that's the first step. Then the second step is to come up with a plan. What do you like investing in? Do you like the stock market? Do you like Bitcoin? Do you like real estate? And I think you can pick one of those and be an expert in that field. I don't think you can do all of it. So just like with your pool service business, you can do the weekly service and repairs, but you generally can't do pool building, major equipment installs, acid wash. You got to kind of fine tune your business so you can't do everything. And I think that's the same when investing. So kind of pinpoint where you want your money to go, and then become an expert in that field. With real estate, there's plenty of podcasts out there that can help you. One that I would highlight, it's called Bigger Pockets, and they do real estate podcasting. Find that niche. If you do investing, of course, Jim Cramer and all those people do that part of it. And just start by planning on what you want to do with your money. If you don't have a plan, your money is going to just bleed everywhere. So having a plan of some kind is the start. And simply just get a piece of paper, write down your income, your expenses, see how much money you have left over, and then decide what you want to do with that money.
Great advice. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, David. Really appreciate you discussing all this stuff. sure everybody has a little bit more to think about when it comes to, investing their money. So, I know you said you have your coaching group. So if people have questions about, say, investments, not just pool related stuff, but investments and money management, all that kind of stuff, can they, discuss those things with you if they're signed up for that with you?
Yes, I'm really careful to separate the pool from the investing. And if you join the group, obviously it's made for if you're at a job site and you can't get the Whisperful pump to work, you don't know how to prime it, or there's something wrong with the electrical, and you have a question in that regards. Or if you have a general business question like, hey, I just got one today where it's like, I'm charging $300 for a 33,000 gallon pool. And, is that enough money in my area? He's in Louisiana. And so there's those kind of questions I answer very openly. Now, if you want to discuss investing, I'm really happy to help you with your investing. Just note that I'm not a certified financial planner. I'm not a CPA. I don't have any of those kind of credentials, but I do have the experience of investing in real estate for 21 years, and I have been doing this with very little debt. So that is kind of my expertise in that area. So yes, if you join the group and you have a question about investing, I'm always happy to help you out, no problem, with that particular question. And I can definitely guide you on what I would suggest, what I would do in your situation is kind of how I would put it. And I would help you and guide you in that respect. So that's not out of the realm of what I can do as part of the coaching. It's not something that I do with everyone, but there has been many occasions where people ask me, just recently one of the members was like, I have $150,000 in the bank. Should I pay towards my mortgage, pay off my house early? And I told them, well, if you don't plan on investing that anywhere else, I would definitely pay off your mortgage. And so things like that come up, and other people ask me about investment properties and about buying a rental, and I can definitely help you with that. I have, connections here with a mortgage broker who specializes in self-employment. And that's one big hurdle I guess we haven't talked about. But as someone who's self-employed, it's much harder to do real estate and that kind of investing because you're self-employed. Basically, you could be out of business the next day in the bank's eye. So there's all those aspects, and I can definitely show you how I do it and help you with that aspect of it. And if anyone wants to email me, I'm happy to help them also in that regards. But generally, the coaching is for, just being out there in the field and business-related questions. But there is that ability to ask me investing questions because that's what I do as kind of my side hobby or side gig, or maybe consider it like half my time is spent with the investing and the other half is spent in the pool stuff. So that's one of the things that definitely I'm available to. I think I went on a long time with that answer, but I just wanted to clarify how that coaching program actually works.
No, we appreciate it. And what's the best way for people to reach out to you if they want to get in touch?
Yeah, so if they want to email me, it's david@swimmingpoollearning.com. That's my website also. And the coaching is poolguycoaching.com. They can find me there. You can just type in Google Pool Guy Coaching and it'll pop up pretty quickly. And then they can sign up there. I mentioned it's only $10 to text me, plus you're in a private group chat, and then $20 to call me when you're in the field with a problem. And that happens once in a while where someone will be out there and they need a quick answer, they'll call me. But I keep the rates low because I really want to help the industry. We mentioned at the beginning that we really want to make this a professional industry. And I think I offer this service out there so that it can be more professional. There are times when you're struggling and you have nowhere to call. You can't call Hayward and ask him, why the alkalinity is so high in the pool and how to lower it. They won't know. You can call Hayward if, maybe the rail with the pump's not working or if the drive goes bad. That's if you have Hayward equipment. Joke. That's something that happens all the time. So that's an inside joke. Maybe a few pool guys got that.
Oh, that's funny.
So I provide a service for people because there really is no kind of training like this. And I've had, all those years of experience out there. So I'm almost like I'm out there with you. When you text me or call me, I can visualize what's going on just by over the phone or in a text message and usually give you a pretty good answer to solve the problem just from the experience I've had out there in the field. So that's kind of how that works. So they can contact me there and get more information on my site and also just by emailing me directly.
And what's the YouTube channel and your podcast?
Yeah, so the YouTube channel is kind of weird. You just have to find it from YouTube, and I don't really have an actual. It's called Swimming Pool Tips. So you can type that in, you can find it there. And then the podcast is the Pool Guy Podcast Show. If they go to swimmingpoollearning.com, all of that's there. I didn't mention the blog I write also. I have a blog that I've been writing for, I think, about 8 years or 9 years with like 1.5 million page views. So I'm out there all over the internet. You can find me just on YouTube. If you type in any kind of pool-related product, you'll see my video there. It has like the little red bar with swimming pool tips on the side on the thumbnail, and you can find me there. So those are all ways they can access my material and my resources for the industry.
Yeah, and we'll have everything listed in the show notes as well, so everybody can see all that.
Mm-hmm. And like Greg said, man, in the beginning, we really look up to you. We have for a long time when we've started the business. You know, I know myself, I was in the field a lot, working on different things, watching your videos. You know, so you're a legend to us, and like Greg said, we just really appreciate you taking time to be on here with us, and thank you so much for all you do.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your guys' podcast and what you do for the industry and how you want to make it more professional. And I like these different guests you have and just the ways you're connected to the industry, trying to bring that education in a platform that's really easy to listen to and easy to absorb the information. Most pool guys aren't big readers, and so hearing all of this really helps.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Pool Chasers. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. To connect with today's guests, including pictures, links, and resources from everything discussed today, you can visit the episode page at poolchasers.com or click the links below. To connect more with us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by searching at Pool Chasers. If you would like to support the podcast, the easiest and most effective way is to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as share the show or your favorite episode with a friend or on social media. Also, you can get early access to each episode by supporting us through Patreon. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for sharing some of yours with us today.
See you out there, Pool Chasers.